What up? What up? What up? What up? Good evening, guys. Good evening. Good evening. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. This is not a scheduled program, but it is after an AEW pay-per-view or a wrestling PLE or whatever it is. So I had some time and I said, screw it, let's sit down and talk some wrestling. So wanted to talk about Forbidden Door. I have not, full disclosure, heard any other review shows or anything like that. I haven't even really been on Twitter. It's always Twitter to me. full disclosure. So I don't know if I'm going to be in the minority with my opinions on certain matches and my opinion overall on the show. So I definitely want to know what you guys have to say and what you guys think. So I appreciate you guys popping in, whether you're watching live or you're checking out on replay. I appreciate that. There's a shit ton of places you can go to watch your stuff. So I appreciate you popping in here. I'm gonna pull up the comments to make sure you guys can hear me. Okay. Word. What up? What up? What up, Sean? What up, sir? Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening. I appreciate you guys popping in, man. All you guys, Sean, I see Fernando was in there first. I appreciate all you guys. K Smith, what up, guys? And appreciate all you guys checking it out on Twitter as well. Looks like we got about almost 20 of you guys checking out on Twitter, so appreciate you guys. So yeah, we're not gonna waste too much time. We're gonna get into it. If you guys know me, I don't go move by move or shit like that. I just kind of go over the overall match itself, my thoughts on the outcome. I do want to get into something that Tony Khan brought up at the media scrum. That is the only thing that I have watched since the pay-per-view ended. So just to kind of set the scene, let you guys know where I'm at, because you guys may know a lot more than I do. So if there's like breaking news out there, definitely feel free to throw it in the chat, because at this point, there's no spoilers to be on the lookout for or anything like that. So it's a free space. So definitely throw it in the chat, and we'll chat about it. But as always, I appreciate you guys. Like I said, if you are here, if you would subscribe and subscribe to the channel and like the show, that'd be pretty dope. Appreciate that. We are looking to grow the channel. It is a big week coming up. Like I've said on previous streams, moving this week. I have shit everywhere you guys can see, thankfully, but boxes galore. So I am super excited to move into a new space within this week. So I'm gonna try to do a couple more streams, maybe at least one more stream this week before we pack it up and then move into the bigger space. So I'll have a little office setup, so it'll be pretty dope. But that's why the content has been super limited. Just wanted to throw that reminder out there. I'm still here and I miss you guys very much so. As far as Spreading Media, I will not be doing a Saturday morning live show because I will obviously be moving this weekend. So we'll get back to regularly scheduled programming the following week. But that's also why I wanted to sit down and chat with you guys right now while I had a little bit of time. But like I was saying, just want to set the stage. Like I was saying, though, Tony Khan did, of course, have the media scrum after Forbidden Door ended. It took them a while to get the media scrum started, to be honest with you. I think it's shit like 40 minutes maybe or so after the shit ended. I don't know. It felt like it took forever. I don't have the best luck with YouTube sometimes. So I was like, yo, like I kept like closing out and then going back into it. But yeah, took forever, but they got it going. Thank you for you to stop. My dog is right here. But the big thing that I thought that came out of it, and I honestly, I think I might have closed out of it after he answered a couple questions after that. But the big thing that I thought he addressed in a change coming out of the media scrum and going into the television programming going forward is the fact that their contract check-ins and cash-ins rather regarding the MJFs, the Athenas, and things like that. Pretty much, I'm trying to say Money in the Bank, right? And he even indirectly referenced that. He essentially said that he wanted to be different. He didn't want to essentially be under the same umbrella as any other company. He wanted to do his own thing. And he has been listening to fan feedback. And it was a really interesting setup. Like he kind of like was setting up a pretty serious stage and setting. He was like, a lot. I know all of you guys out there, or he didn't say guys, but I know all of you out there are media. And you're here reporting as media, and of course you're fans. But he was, trying to stress the fact and the importance of them being there solely for media purposes, right? But he wanted them to put on their fan hat essentially and give him fan feedback and essentially like live feedback. And essentially his long story short was that he wanted them to tell him their thoughts on MJF and MJF, pretty much like the shit MJF did without directly saying, you know, like MJF threatened to light and Mark Briscoe on fire. So he kind of directly, indirectly brought that up and said that he wants to be a combination of that, between that and what happened with MJF and Hangman, pretty much declaring it and setting it straight on week week 2, and then you want to go to the go home week, and then you pretty much undo what you did in the week prior, which I said, in my opinion, it was a step backwards. It was kind of like they had all these ideas and the chapters got out of alignment, and my opinion, I wouldn't have done the whole gasoline thing with Mark Briscoe at all. I think it was completely unnecessary. Especially the order of it. But I just, point blank, I just think that was unnecessary in my opinion. Again, I'm not like, oh my god, I'm so offended. Don't really care. Not offended in that regard. It just wasn't the time or the place for it, in my opinion. Again, it wasn't, because it's flashing back to like the swerve and the seriousness of that storyline and the feud with Hangman. I'm just like, why? Like, no, like there's, I don't even want to say there's a time and a place for it, but it's like, that definitely wasn't it. If there is, that wasn't it. You know what I mean? So I just didn't think they need to do that. But if you are going to do that, why did you do that after you guys had pretty much come to an agreement? Like, I understand, like, MJF is pissed off, so he's going to want to avenge the good guy getting over on him, and pretty much wants to undo what Hangman did. So I can understand that and get that, but it was just so extreme, and it was just not good, in my opinion. I just didn't like it. So in that sense, I guess maybe, again, I've kind of been out of the loop a little bit in regards to like feedback and people's reactions to certain angles on TV lately, but I guess maybe that was the general consensus as well. So Tony Khan was essentially addressing that, and he was like, we are not, or he's like, we're not going to allow that going forward. And if you're going to not cash in, but if you're going to redeem, I'm going to say, your contract and submit your contract and want to cash it in, for lack of better terms, you have to give at least a week's notice. So there's no more last minute run-ins, anything like that. Any, I guess, agreeing to something and then reneging on it, like what MJF did with Hangman. Nothing what Christian Cage did in the past. Nothing that we see in WWE with the Money in the Banks. So Tony Khan is apparently putting his foot down, and he said no mas. He said that shit's going to be done and declared a week in advance and he was specific. He was like, so like promoting and marketing and the proper promotion for not ratings, but like proper promotion can go into it and proper build, which I thought was pretty interesting. And essentially kind of honing into that sports feel and that sports aspect of it as close as you can get. I mean, obviously they don't do anything like this in like NFL, NBA, anything like that. But that'd be wild. Can you imagine we get an NBA like, can you imagine we're in let's say we're in like game 4 or some shit, game 5 or some shit of the NBA finals, and this random team won whatever, just like some contract or some some clause where they're like, yo, we can cash in any of the games between games. It has to be at least before game 6, but it could be anywhere between games 1 through 5 in the finals. We are going to be able to, I don't even know how this shit would work out. Maybe like substitute, like completely remove one team, whoever's like the winning team, or I don't know, some crazy shit. Can you imagine? People would lose their fucking minds. So I guess to Tony Khan's credit, he is putting a stop to that. And like, nah, bro, you're not going to do this fuck shit anymore. My words, not his. You are going to declare at least a week in advance, we are going to officially use your opportunity, your contract shot. So I dig it. Again, if you didn't see the media scrum, you got to go back and check it out, because the way he set it up and the build to it, with the fan, like, like the fan feedback and with everyone that was there, it was quite the scene, quite the setup. So shout out to him, because he, I guess, was privy and did hear or see, maybe a combination of both, I guess, some criticism to what has happened the past couple weeks, and he is making a effort to correct that. So, look, man, we can shit on things all we want, but if someone's going to go out there and make a clear opportunity and a clear effort to correct something, then why are we going to sit there and continue to harp on it? So, to me, and again, to me, it wasn't even that a hill that I was dying on or anything like that, or that, dire. It was just like, man, like, you could have done without it. But props to him, like I said, for addressing that and correcting that going forward. So I think it's going to clean things up in a lot of realms. So props to Tony Khan. Sean, what up? Thank you, my friend, for the super chat, and I appreciate that. You said no more chair shots to the head. Thank you. Yeah, bro, we will definitely talk about that shit. I appreciate the super chat, though, my friend. For sure, for sure. And yeah, K Smith, he said, anybody watching Heat Wave? I plan to put that on after we wrap up here and I take my dogs out for a walk. But yeah, definitely plan on watching that later on. No, not moving out of Orlando. Literally in my same apartment complex, just moving into a bigger unit. I know it's crazy, right? But when I got my renewal for the lease, I was like, let me just see what it's gonna like, what the cost is for some of the 2 bedrooms that they have here, and it was $15 more than my 1 bedroom. And I said, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Transfer, please. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. I obviously didn't tell them that or say that to them, but I was just like, in so many words, minus the F word. But I was like, bro, like seriously? Like, I thank God I asked, because I'd have been pissed. Like, it's so much more space, like just so much better. I can't wait. Cannot wait. Moving is a bitch, and just the whole packing, unpacking, cleaning, and all that shit. But a lot of it's so much easier. Like, I don't have to go through the whole like application process and all that bullshit. It's literally just right down, like just driving straight up. And just little things like, updating your address is kind of annoying, I guess, but I'm super happy. Super happy. So yeah, man. But yeah, thanks guys. But yeah, so I at least wanted to talk about that in regards to Tony Khan. Let me get up here. All right, cool. I didn't watch the pre-show, so shout out Kelly in the background. I did not watch the pre-show. I absolutely, let me see. I don't know anything that has happened on the pre-show, so I will not sit here and pretend like I do. I'm just closing some tabs really quick without those ads. All right, cool. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, I have a poll in the chat. What you thought of AEW? Thumbs up, thumbs down. So feel free to throw your response and your thoughts in the poll as well. Like I said, if you're watching on YouTube, even more reason to watch on YouTube. But a lot of people watch it, whether it's my show here or it's Brass Ring Media. Both seem to have more of an audience on Twitter, which I find very fascinating. Very fascinating. So shout out to everyone on Twitter. X, I know. I know. I don't say it's just, I don't know. X is just odd to say. So I'm not trying to, be like that person, but it's just weird for me to say X. But getting into the show itself, we open the show with the tag match between not Edge, Adam Copeland, and Christian Cage facing off against the Matriarchy, Luchasaurus / Kill Switch, and Kip Sabian. Once I first it was one of those where when I first heard their music, I was like, oh wow. And then when I thought about it, like a couple seconds, like 30 seconds later, I was like, oh, makes total sense opening with this tag match. So very good choice there, in my opinion. The UK fans, bro, shout out to them, because I know a lot of people get annoyed by the international crowds because they seem to take over the shows at sometimes. And they do, completely honest, they do. At some points, it's more distracting than others. But overall, I think for tonight's pay-per-view, it wasn't one of those nights where it completely ruined the show for me, or I was like wishing that I had a feature where I could mute them specifically. So props to them. At one point during the tag match, though, it sounded like they were singing the Bailey song, but obviously it wasn't for Bailey, so I don't know if that was for Copeland. Like, I couldn't make out exactly what they were saying, but it was like the same like sound of the Bailey song. So I don't know if you guys can make it out, throw it in the chat what it was, the words, but I was just like, bro, like I know they're not singing like it's like that, you guys know the song they sing for Bailey, but I was like, bro, like what like I couldn't make it out, but it was very fun. Um Overall, though, I was again super stoked to see Killswitch back, and the fact that he looked fantastic and he was able, obviously, to just have a match. Period. He is in the shape that he's in, with the health conditions that he's had over the past year. I don't know the exact time frame. I'm blanking on that, but shout out to him, dude. We have had, of course, a lot of sad situations in wrestling throughout the years. Obviously, Bray Wyatt being one of them. Didn't mean to hit the string, but ironically, I'm wearing the Fiend's hoodie. But 2 years, man, 2 years since Bray Wyatt has passed away. Wyndham, has passed away. I don't like saying their real name because I didn't know them personally, but in one hand, I don't like saying their real name, like I said, because I don't know them personally. But in the second hand, it's like they're more than just their character, so it's just like a weird thing for me as a fan. Because you want to give them respect, right? You mean it in the best way possible. So shout out to him, and it's just still so surreal. First that it's been 2 years, and the fact that it's even a thing at all since I don't know, it's just so crazy to me that Bray Wyatt is gone, y'all. Like, it's just fucking wild. Like, it again, as a fan, you almost seem kind of selfish for just thinking and talking about all the things that the wrestling world is missing out on because his family's missing out on so much more. But as a whole, it's just very sad. Very sad. So shout out to his family. I can only imagine. It's hard dealing with loss, yourself as a human being, right? But then when you have thousands and millions of people who knew this individual too, um, it's got to be very difficult. I can't even imagine the influx of feelings that you go through and emotions that you go through. So props to them and shout out to them for making it through. But the match itself, on a happier note, because Killswitch is good, Luchasaurus is good. He looked great in the match. I still think that they could have held off on having this tag match. And again, I guess especially now with, in retrospect, Nick Wayne being out due to injury, they still could have slid Killswitch in Nick Wayne's spot and kept it a Christian Cage versus Killswitch match, like just a singles match, and then built to the tag match going forward. And speaking of the tag match at All Out, we'll obviously be getting to that when we get to the tag team championships, which I think is very what an ending in that match, bro. What a fucking ending. But we'll get to that because I was wrong, and I'm safe to say I think a lot of us were wrong with our picks with the tag team match. But with this one in particular, I think this was no surprise. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage got the dub here. Christian ended up extending his hand for the handshake there. So pretty much kumbaya. I think this past week they said, or Christian has stated that they were writing in the same book at least. So I think this one they are at least closer in their chapters with each other. So yeah, they do have a new finisher, which I think is pretty cool. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Edge and Christian ever had like a duo finisher. God, I feel like yeah, I don't think they did. If they did, correct me if I'm wrong, but now they do. It's almost like a lift up that Christian does, and kind of like a lift up, like toss up, almost like Devon would do to set up for the 3D, and then Edge, Adam Cope comes and does the spear. So it's actually pretty cool. So props to them. I mean, they don't. I don't think they said a name of it yet, but I assume we will get one pretty soon. But yeah, I think overall it was a good match, and shout out to Kip. He. I remember going to some of the Jacksonville shows, and the dude, it was back when he was wearing the paper bag over his head, and he would just be standing in like some of the quarters and just standing there, and like he would let fans come up and take pictures with him and stuff. Really cool dude, really chill dude. What an interesting career. Just something else. But happy he got the moment in his hometown, well, home country. So good for him. Pop into the chat really quick. But I appreciate everyone popping in. Looks like you guys are out there on Twitter. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to all my people over here on YouTube as well. Appreciate that. Yeah, Fernando, you said Kip took a huge beating. He did, bro. What up, John? What up? What up? You said Sean makes 0 sense. I'm assuming that was in regards to Sean saying the match was fine. Copeland and Christian getting back together just doesn't do much for me. Yeah. I will say that Copeland, I am a much bigger Edge Copeland fan, I think, than the average person out there, which is ironic because the Hardy Boys were my team, and like Jeff especially was my dude. But when the whole Matt, Edge, Lita love triangle bullshit was going on, I was like, oh fuck Edge, like he's a piece of shit. Like how can you do that to Matt? Like I was so team Matt, and then as it like left being like revolving around Matt, and he really like grew into the rated R superstar with Lita, and just really kind of moving into the main event scene and feuding with John Cena, especially with Cena, because at that point I was just done with Cena. So I was like, yo, Edge is pretty dope. Like Edge, he ain't that bad. So I really grew an appreciation more so for him there, and it just kind of grew obviously from there out. But them as a tag team, I couldn't fucking stand them because they always won. They always won at WrestleManias. Whenever it was a tag team match, dude. Whenever, and put that up there for reference. Whenever it was a tag team match, dude, and Edge and Christian were involved, they always fucking won. Always fucking won. I remember when I was little teenage Ashley. Yeah, I'm gonna date myself. Just gotten back from Blockbuster, gotten some cool VHS tapes from back in the day, and yeah, so just chilling. And it was even I forget the year, but it was a cage match. I forget what it was. But no, it wasn't a cage match, but it was way back in the day. And of course we all know what happened at the WrestleMania match. They fucking won. I'm gonna pause with the VHS tape one. But the WrestleMania match, to me, man, I remember being so pissed that's where it really started in retrospect. Now that I'm kind of thinking about this, the first time I actually like really delved into it, and now to get back on track. Sean, I blame you. I just remember Jeff just hitting the beautiful swanton, dude. And I was just mesmerized. I was just like, this fucking guy is incredible. And then next thing you know, like they had the ladder set up, and then they had the table at the top, like bridging the two ladders, which just brilliant. And they had the table set up at the bottom. Matt was at that point already at the top, and then you had Edge and Christian climbing up at the top. And I was like, no, 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 no. And then next thing you knew, they pushed Matt off. He did a flip and then crashed to the table below. Edge and Christian win the tag titles, or I think retain the tag titles. And I was just like it really deflated me. And ever since then, every big match that they were in, every tag team title match that they were in, I was like, these fucking guys are going to win. So, Sean, I blame you for that little Edge and Christian rant. But that's been my journey. But even backing up before then, I thought the Brood was just fucking dope. I thought Edge and Christian and Gangrel were just fucking dope. So, yeah. What a journey. What a journey. But, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so that's my quick thoughts on that. But overall, I'm looking forward to at least it's kind of one of those things where I'm not mad at it or anything like that. And I'm actually, I'm waiting to see how it plays out. as long as they don't go too heavy-handed with it, it'll be fine. But again, trying to hold off until we get to the tag team titles. It's going to be an interesting scene now going into All Out. So holding off on that. But I can't wait till we get to that match. But moving on to match number 2, we had Kyle Fletcher facing off against Hiromu Takahashi for the TNT Championship. And I had completely forgotten I had seen Takahashi before. Once I seen him come out, I was like, bro, I fucking love this guy. Because obviously that's a bit dramatic, because if I loved him, I would have been more familiar with him prior. But I immediately remembered because his gear, dude. I just remember when I first saw him, his gear was just fucking dope. And obviously eye-catching. So I was like, man, like, this dude is pretty cool. And this match that he had with Fletcher, just in my opinion, I don't want to say fantastic, because I think that's probably overstating it, but for me, for my expectations coming into it, I just really enjoyed this. I thought Kyle Fletcher looked like $1,000,000. I thought the whole setup of it was so well done, in the sense that, yes, we knew Fletcher was going to win, right? But it was one of those where Fletcher was kind of dominating, and then at one point Fletcher was in that role where he was like, what is it going to take to beat this guy? He's getting kind of like flustered. I don't know where that kind of tickled me, Fletcher and flustered. But I don't know. It was just Fletcher just really played his role so well, in my opinion, in this match, that I just really enjoyed it. Now, I will say one of the moves that stood out to me as a whole throughout the entire pay-per-view was like the pile driver, man. And like the pile driver and the tombstone. And I'm just so done with seeing those moves performed as transition moves, or just moves to be hit outside the ring, and then they are down for maybe a few seconds and they get back up and are just able to just jump back up and run back into the ring, or just shit like that. Overall, I'm just tired of seeing. It's not just AEW, but in my opinion, AEW does that a bit more. But WWE definitely has their faults. This is an AEW night. That move just tonight, though, the pile driver and the tombstone, just really stood out to me. As a whole, again, that and the tope suicida. I am just so tired of seeing that move. Every fucking match has that move in it, and it's just like, it's not. The only time tonight I was impressed was when Brody King hit it, and I know I'm jumping ahead. But when I see a dude like him hit it, it's just fantastic. But again, like, that's why everyone else shouldn't be doing it as much. You save it for dudes like Brody King. There should be that person in the back who kind of oversees everyone's match, like, kind of goes through, like, once everyone has the match figured out, they kind of go through and make sure, like, oh, okay, like, we're not doing 10 chair shots here, 10 chair shots here. Like, if we're going to do 10 in the first match, we can't do 10 in the second match. So there needs to be that person, and that I would imagine there is, right, who is like, hey, one match is already doing this, so you guys can't do this, or vice versa. Be like, yo, if match one, like, you were planning on doing this, well, they're going to do that in the main event, so we can't really do that and work it out. You know what I mean? So I just feel like there needs to be maybe a little bit better, like, control. And again, not just solely at AEW, it's across the board, wrestling-wise, in my opinion. It's just standing out to me more and more. I don't know why. Lately. And yeah, so just some quick thoughts there. What up, Billy? What up, what up? Yeah, Fernando, you said agree 100%. Well, yeah, 100% Ash, protect your finisher. Yeah, dude, and your finishers as well, man. Your finishers as well. Yeah, K. Smith, exactly, dude. He said big move spamming is so common now, it's crazy. And dude, like, and again, I hate to be that person, man. I hate to be that person, like, back in my day, like, and it's not, because they're like, for instance, the Stone Cold Stunner, dude, like, the Stunner was so overdone when you think about it. Like, he hit that fucker on everybody. Everybody. You know what I mean? Now, granted, yes, in your average match, like, it'd be one and done. But there are times where it would take like 2 and 3 of those fuckers to get through. So I'm not saying, but it was more of like the time and the place, in my opinion, back then. Whereas now, it's the thing to do. So again, I don't know if we each have our own cup of tea, right? And that doesn't bother as many people as it does me. So I guess me and a couple of you guys are guests, or we're just over here paddling along together. So I appreciate you guys. But yeah, man, I don't know. I just think that if you hold off on it, when you do hit it, it'll be, oh shit, like it's that moment. And then if they kick out, then it's even like a oh shit, even like an even bigger oh shit moment. So I don't know. I just feel like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot in a way, and making yourself work harder a little bit too. But yeah. So overall, though, I was really, really, I don't want to say impressed with this match, but I had much more fun with this match than I thought I was going to. So props to both men. I definitely would have watched more Takahashi matches. So I would definitely be trying to seek out some more of his content. So content, like he's a content creator. But some more of his matches. So props to them. This may have even been one of those matches where I talked shit on it going into it that we probably didn't need it on the card. So if I did, I was wrong and I enjoyed it. So, and I think the time limit itself was like almost ideal. I don't think it was more than 15 minutes, between 10 15 minutes. So kind of in the sweet spot in my opinion. And of course Fletcher retained, which he should. And Fletcher also was in media scrum afterwards. Looked fantastic. Was in a suit. I'm pretty certain he had like a pink tie on, some glasses. Dude looks like $1,000,000, and he is the face of the company waiting to happen. My opinion. Just, and again, I'm not saying right now that they need to rush it or it should be right now or they're missing out or anything like that. I think if they needed to, he could be in that spot. But I think right now, like the track he's on and the pace that he's on, is a good pace. It's kind of the track in a very different but similar way to Hangman, just maybe speed wise. And I don't think it's going to take as many years as it did for Hangman, but in the sense that he gets so close to capturing it, and for whatever reason he doesn't. So it's the journey kind of climbing back to the top. And again, just kind of parallel, I guess, to Hangman, but it's more about the journey for him. So I don't know. Seeing him in the media scrum, just the way he looked, and then seeing that made me think back to I think it was, I forget the city they were in, but he did this random like weather morning show, and I just thought he did a great job. It was like some local news show, news station, and it was their weather segment. And he just went out there and was doing their weather segment, and it was just fucking entertaining as shit. So I really enjoyed it. So props to him. Shout out to him. And he's one of those where I'm super happy and stoked that I'm along for the journey to watch him grow. So props to Fletcher. And the more he's one of those, the more I watch him, the bigger fan I become. And the more and more I look forward to seeing him on TV. So job well done. But moving on, we have the TBS Women's Championship, well, TBS Championship match period. Mercedes Moné defending the championship against Alex Windsor. I heard someone else say Persephone, bless their heart, Persephone versus Bozilla. I had no idea who Bozilla was going into this, and I came out of this pretty impressed. I feel like Bozilla is going to be one of those that Tony Khan is probably going to want to snatch up if he can relatively soon. Definitely some weak-ish spots in the match, but overall I think it was pretty well done. Again, it was one of those matches where you're going into it knowing the outcome. It's just a matter of kind of letting the women kind of get another spot on the card and showcase their skills. yeah, I think that Bozilla really was the one. I don't know if you want to say like a standout. Probably, maybe it was the standout of the match. Um, but yeah, I mean, Stardom they got to be sweating bullets over there if she ain't signed to something heavy with them, because if not, I can only imagine Tony Khan's gonna want to get her soon. Not that he should, maybe necessarily, because he has a pretty decent talent pool already, but shit, if you can lock down talent, especially women's talent, do it, do it. So we do have a development. You know, Mercedes Monet is a nine belts Monet now. So just went away from 10, and I don't know if you guys saw, but Nyla Rose won the Pro Wrestling Eve Women's Championship, I believe it was, over the weekend. So I don't know if that's going to be number 10 for Mercedes. It would be an easy play in and tie into AEW. Obviously, they could probably do that. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, shit, if I'm Pro Wrestling Eve, if I'm saying that, if that's the proper company, if I'm them, I'd be like, fuck it. Hell yeah. Defend that shit on Dynamite or Collision. Fuck yeah. Wherever you want to do it. And get the belt on Monday in any way you can. But yeah, it's just she's got to get number 10. And I don't know if it's going to be a matter of getting number 10 to tie the record or to get 11 and break it. So we'll see. We'll see. Just wild. It's just wild. But yeah, I think that in regards to the TBS Championship reign, though, I want to say it's in October. I think it was, where Mercedes, if she holds on, which I mean at this point she's going to, she holds on and breaks Jade's record. So it's only a matter of time. But the next matchup we had on the card was Zack Sabre Jr. facing off against Nigel McGuinness for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. A lot of people don't like the design and the look of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship belt, but I love it. I think it's dope. Yes, I saw somebody say like it's like a big, almost like a big butterfly belt, which I thought was kind of funny. Like the Divas Championship. I thought this match was, if you like a technical match, this match was so good. It's just so good. I want to go back and rewatch it because during this match I did have to do a couple things around the house. But yeah, man, just seeing Nigel out there again is just kind of surreal, and seeing him face off against Zack Sabre Jr., especially for the IWGP Championship, is just kind of like, what year are we in? Like, in like, it's just kind of surreal to see again. I was very concerned though. I don't know, probably like everyone else, I think that maybe safe to say that Garcia was going to interfere somehow, either during the match or after the match, and turn on McGuinness or anything like that. I'm happy they didn't. I'm happy that they they I don't know if they were even tempted to, but I'm happy they withheld from doing that. And it seemed at the end that they were kind of rushed, because as Daniel Garcia was in there kind of like congratulating, and like, like not congratulating, but like giving Nigel his props or whatever. Tony Schiavone was in there doing I think it was the attendance at that point. So which is kind of odd. But again, this match is just fantastic. From what I saw, again, I got to go back and fully. I kind of missed out on like the middle towards like the beginning part of the end. But just well done. Well done. Yeah, Fernando, 100%, dude. Zack Sabre Jr. is pound for pound the best wrestler in the world. Definitely the best technical wrestler. I think Daniel Bryan, Jesus Lord, Daniel Bryan, I don't know where that came from. But Bryan Danielson even said so himself. But yeah, man. Wow. This light, I may have to turn this light off. Hold on. It's like getting to me. Then it's gonna be kind of dark. It's not that bad. It was just blinding me. It is kind of dark though. I'm sorry, guys, but I had to make some changes. But yeah, it was the attendance. So Their attendance came into 18,992. Let me know if that's too dark though for you guys. 18,992 though in the O2 Arena, which is no small feat. No small feat. So props to them. Um, the last count that I had seen going into it, they were like 117 seats away. I think that was on like Friday, maybe even Saturday morning. Um, and I'm pretty certain they ended up selling it out. If not, then they were right there. So props to them, dude. There we go. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that is a little red. Let's see how that goes. There we go. It's not that bad. Yeah, the light was about to bother. The resolution's about to fuck with me. But yeah, so again, shout out to them for 18,000, damn near 19,000. So props to them. But that led into a cool little segment. So backstage, Tekla and Queen Aminata were brawling and made their way out to the front. The fans were chanting "Fight Forever" because, of course, they were, which made me think of the video game that seemingly doesn't exist in AEW anymore. So there's that. But they were doing their thing. Julia Hart and Sky Blue ended up coming out and started getting involved because shit, why not? That all set up for none other than Jamie Hayter to make her return. She came out and hit Julia Hart and Sky Blue with some forearms. Looked great, looked fantastic, and looked like her old self too. And I hope she goes back to looking like herself, like her old self too. Like I don't, again, no disrespect, but like it just, I don't know, like visually, it just wasn't like setting. Like it, I missed the old Jamie Hayter, man. So I just hope that's what we're getting, and I hope that that's the one that we're getting back. So props to her. And I don't know exactly, I don't remember exactly what her injury was, but I'm happy that she's back though because she's had a rough deal, rough deal. But it was cool. I liked that little segment that they did. Moving on, we had the tag team match. We had the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, of course, your tag team champions, facing off and defending the tag titles against FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler, accompanied by Stokely Hathaway, facing off against Brodito, which is Bandito and Brody King, in a three-way for the AEW tag team titles. I could have sworn I thought this was an elimination match. So I don't know if I made that shit up. I hope I don't know. I don't know if I remember talking about it in the previous show. I don't know if I did or not. I don't think I mentioned it being an elimination, but I remember thinking about it at some point yesterday. Like, is this an elimination match? Like, I don't know. I just probably sorry, Free. I just made that up possibly, but it was not an elimination match. It was one fall to the finish rather. Um, but guys, I'm just gonna get it out of the way. The chair shot to Brody King's head. It's not needed. It's I don't really care, dude. And again, like you can call me like a softy or whatever. It's just not needed. I don't think we live in a time where shit like that is we know too much. You know, like we know too much in regards to CTE, in regards to concussions, in regards to just brain damage and just injuries in general, right? And again, like whether they set up the chair, whatever you want to call it, they did whatever to the chair. I almost don't really care. You know what I mean? Like of course I do. That sounds wrong. And I was gonna say I almost don't care in the sense that I don't really want them to do it. Period. I care, and that's the whole point. I don't need to see it. Like, going into this match, I wasn't sitting there like, bro, like, I need to see Brody King take a chair shot to the head to know that dude is a badass motherfucker. No, like, you already know. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And again, I appreciate it. Like, it's, you kind of like, in my, like, for me, like, you come from a place where it's like, bro, like, I almost feel bad, like, complaining about moves like that, but I do because it's coming from a place of love, you know, and like Sean said earlier, like, no more no more chair shots to the head. You know, it, for whatever reason, man, I always think of the worst. I think of when um Mankind and The Rock, bro, like back in the days. And I know we've come a lot and it wasn't nearly anything like that, and that's an extreme example. But it just, and like, I think of, who was it, Mike Awesome, and oh my god, Tatanka, dude, like, no, Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka, yeah, bro, like, if you guys haven't seen that match, I like almost don't want to tell you to go watch it, but it was one of those where it's like, Jesus God, like, what are we, like, stop, just stop. But yeah, Sean, exactly, you exactly. Thank you. And he kicked out right after. Like, bro, like, I don't know. I don't know why the need is there, or they feel like the need is there to do something like that. Like, it's just not necessary, in my opinion. Like, I don't need to see it. And it's not, and again, I know people do crazier shit like this in GCW on the indies and shit like that, but I don't think it's good there either. Like, you, wrestling is beautiful in the sense that you can do crazy shit and do it in the way where you don't have to, like, do it directly to people's heads. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bro. Maybe I am just a softie. Maybe I am whatever you want to call me or that fan. But personally, I don't need to see a chair shot to the head, whether you fix the chair up or not. Obviously, I hope you do, right? Like, it's much better if you did, right? But it almost, like, that's why I was saying, like, it almost, like, of course it matters, but it's still it's still a bad thing, you know? Like, it's still just one of those things where it's like, just because it's not the worst case scenario of it doesn't make it good. You know, it's like, I'm happy you're okay, but you still didn't need to do it. You know, like, like, I don't know. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys? And yeah, and then kicking out right after it's like, look, if you're gonna do something like that, drive that shit home. Like when Sean Spears did it with Cody Rhodes, man. I mean, obviously that was after the fact, but Cody fucking sold that shit like it was a gunshot to the back of the head, dude. Like, his body just conformed to it. He fell backward and he was just done. Now again, that was completely different in the sense that obviously Cody had a nice slice from in the back of the head from it. But I think they said that chair was even like fixed up too, and something still went wrong with it because freak accidents happen, right? Which is kind of the point. But again, like, if you're going to do something like that, at least make it be the end all be all. Make it be the drive home factor. Make it be like, oh my god, like, oh, like, what did we just see? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, and again, like I said earlier, it's almost like you're working so much harder than you need to, you know? And again, like, I'm not sitting here trying to shit on what Brody King went through, you know what I mean, in the match itself or anything like that. But man, like, I don't know. It that kind of took me out of it a bit. And then again, and when the ending, like, I hold on 1 second. What up, E? What up? What up, Sean? You said just pathetic and stupid. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, what up, B? What up? What up? Yeah, I haven't gotten a heat wave yet, my friend. But the ending, guys, I don't know what the fuck happened with the ending. I was just so like I like part of me is like it was like so Burrito like their finisher. So Brody King does pretty much like almost like a monkey flip where he's on his back and he has like his feet up and he launches Bandito over, so he does a flip and then like does a flip onto the opponent and ends up off hopefully and obviously getting the 1 2 3. So that was supposed to be the ending, the finishing move and the ending for the match. But my goodness, that shit was just terrible. And again, I know shit happens, and I am no professional, and I am not sitting here saying that I can do that myself or do it better. And shit happens, but I just wish that like they would have like been able to like kind of like cover and like make up for it a bit and just kind of like fix it a bit, like realize like oh shit like that like actually allow after FTR to break up the 3 count because you can tell. I believe it was Cash was supposed to play the part where he's trying to get in and break up the 3, but he can't get there in time. So he realized that once he was in the ring, like he could probably get there before the 3 count. So he was kind of like like took 1 extra second, and Brody was able to kind of stop him as well. But I almost kind of wish that they would have let Cash just break it up, and then maybe if you're gonna hit the same move again, like hit a couple moves to get into that same situation again to hit the same move. I don't know. I don't know if they have like a name for their tag team move yet. That finisher. But and again, the more they team together, they'll be able to work out the kinks. But it between the chair shot and the inning, it just kind of took me out of it. And again, earlier they had. Hold on 1 second. I meant to earlier in the match. I'm going to move my screen here. They had some unknown assailants, right, come out in some New Japan jackets, and they started attacking Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. Who could they be, right? Of course, ended up being Ricochet, Tao Leona, and Bishop Khan. But just even the timing with that just wasn't really that great. So the match just seemed to be cursed in a way. I will say they got me with the finish though, with Brody King and Bandito winning. We have another dual champion because of course, and Bandito. I completely forgot that he was the Ring of Honor World Champion, so there's that. But he is, in fact. So it's just it is what it is, man. And in the media scrum, someone had asked Brody King about, like essentially like what is Buddy Matthews gonna say when he gets back type thing. And he was like, I hope, like I'm sure Buddy is gonna be happy for me and supportive. I'm supportive of him in his recovery. And there's trios titles out there, right? And I'm just like, oh God, there is, isn't there? Don't remind Tony Khan, who's sitting right beside you. Um, but yeah, what a match. What a match. Next up, we had Kazuchika Okada defending the unified AEW championship. Not to be mistaken for any heavyweight unification or anything else, it's just the unified championship. Defending that championship against Swerve Strickland. This match got me too, man. I assumed that Okada was going to win, right? But I didn't think that Swerve was gonna hit the W, or I'm sorry, the L kind of clean here. I'm not even terribly mad at it. I just shit, in my opinion, Swerve is above Okada in AEW land, and again, I didn't necessarily see Okada losing the title here, but I didn't necessarily see this type of finish. So with that, I was just like, okay. But I think I do recall hearing something that Swerve is dealing with an injury as well. Yes, Sharani said Swerve needs to get healthy. So if it is more in the sense of just protecting Swerve because he is going to be taking some time off, okay, it makes more sense. But this match was just okay, like I wasn't completely blown away with it, but it makes more sense knowing that Swerve isn't 100%. And again, dude, I'm just happy and props to him that he was able to go out there and deliver, and always appreciate that. You know what I mean? But again, no surprise to me that Okada retained here. I was just surprised in the way. Just pretty much having Okada hit the Rainmaker on Swerve for the 1-2-3. He was, dealing with some knee injuries or some knee issues throughout. So I get it, but I don't know. It was just, let me know if you guys, if I was, I don't know, if I'm just kind of like off here with that one. But to me, this match just kind of was missing something. But again, learning and realizing that Swerve is going to be taking some time off and dealing with some shit, I'm happy. And again, just thankful that he was able to go out there and deliver. And again, it wasn't a bad match at all. It was just kind of, it was good. But with it's almost like when you're Swerve, when you're wrestlers in the caliber of Swerve and Okada, they're so good in big match situations where it's like you expect like up here, and when you get like right here, it's like, oh, it stands out, and that's kind of where I'm at. Not that I'm like, wow, what a shitbag. You know what I mean? Completely not. It was just, yeah, it just was what it was, and that's okay. That's okay. Because when we run it back in the future, I feel like it's gonna be that much more. But again, this kind of the story for this too, and I guess I'm kind of burying the lead here as well, is what was setting up after the match. But this one, this was one of those situations where it was what happens after the match and after the fact. And that was another return, or a return that we got here at Forbidden Door. Of course, Prince Nana came out to help Swerve. But we had Wardlow, a Wardlow sighting. Wardlow showed up dressed in, of course, black, all black. He clotheslined Prince Nana. He unbuttoned his sleeves and then went up and went up to Nana, started throwing some punches at him while Swerve was in the corner, unable to really go over there and help Nana and Otto. Of course, some security guards came out who Wardlow ended up attacking because, of course, not. Or, like, of course, why not? Like, I wonder I wonder when they go into a town and it's just like, all right, I need like 50 indie wrestlers and like 25 of them, I need them to be security guards. I need like 25 security shirts. Like, I wonder whose job that is. That's just kind of funny to me. Like just like the little things like that. Like I would love to see like the ins and outs. That's what we need to see. Like on Unreal. Like that's the shit that I want to see. Like the little ins and out. Like who's responsible for the travel and like the booking and shit. Like the real booking of like shit. Like the little things like that. Like yeah, like I get like Triple H and all you big dudes are like doing all the heavy, the heavy hitting storylines and all this shit. But like who's really making the ship run in the back? Like who's really oiling the gears in the back? That's what we need to see, and those are the stories we need to hear about. But continuing on, Wardlow, he exited the ring, and then of course, ended up hugging and joining Don Callis because why not, man? Why not? So our guy Wardlow is with the Don Callis family, who consists of Josh Alexander Hechicero, Kyle Fletcher, and Lance Archer, who were all out there to welcome Wardlow into the family. And then a little bit later, a few seconds, maybe 15 seconds later, if that, none other than Konosuke Takeshita, who does exist in AEW world. made his own appearance. And again, I say that mockingly because this motherfucker won the G1 tournament. Like, he won the tournament, and you would, like, in AEW, you wouldn't even know. You would have no idea. So the fact that he made an appearance at Forbidden Door, I was shocked. Shocked. And seeing him walk up, like, just, first of all, just seeing him walk slowly, I was mesmerized, dude. And I was just like, bro, like, it reminded me of, like, Takeshita is something special, man. And one hand, I'm like, props to Tony Khan for allowing him to go off and do all this stuff in Japan, but it's like, why aren't you talking about it? Like, talk about it, dude. Like, you have all of this, like, gold and all this beautifulness sitting over here. Why aren't you talking about it? You have access to the footage. You have access to all of it, Why aren't you exploiting that on your TV, especially in a setting like Forbidden Door? Like Jesus Lord, like, you could have been like just talking the fuck up how an AEW talent went in and won the G1, and like, you don't, like, how is that not a big thing? Like, how is that not, I don't want to say like you're rubbing it in their face, but fuck, dude, like, what? So I just, and again, like, this is coming from someone who isn't even that big of like a New Japan fan or like, like anything like that. So I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. But yo, if that was me, I'd have been talking up every week his progress, how he's just kicking ass, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, guys. But yeah, I'm happy Wardlow is back. I was actually very surprised that Wardlow was back. I would love even more if Wardlow, if he was gonna be back and he had to be aligned with someone, which I do think he needs a mouthpiece. I do think he needs someone. I wish Don Callis didn't have such a big entourage right now. Like, I wish he had just maybe just Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita, and then you could throw Wardlow in there, almost like a Paul Heyman in the Vision thing. As much as bad shit we want to talk about them, you can at least Heyman has like he has like his role as like with the Oracle or whatever, but like, he accompanies Braun Breaker individually. He accompanies Seth individually. He accompanies Bronson individually. And you kind of see him coaching them, especially Braun, during the reign. Like, it was one of the moments that stood out to me in the street fight match on Raw with Braun Breaker and Jey Uso was when Braun had hurt his arm. Besides the brutal leg injury that he had, I guess he's okay. Fucking props to that dude. What a beast. But Braun was kind of like holding his arm or like checking his arm in the corner, and you heard Paul just saying, "Don't worry about that. We're checking that later. Like, get back to it. Get back to it. You're fine." And it was like Braun. You could see like Braun like mentally like, fuck yeah, like getting psyched up and like getting back into it. And that's what I can see Don Callis being for Wardlow. I could see him being that type of hype man, but I'm just concerned that Callis is going to be so watered down. We're going to just be like, here he is again. Either Callis is going to be watered down or Wardlow isn't going to get the proper shine yet again. So I am trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but we have been down this road so many times with Wardlow, it seems. And I just don't know why, because Wardlow, I'm happy he has his little ponytail back. He looks like the old Wardlow, so I'm just fucking stoked about that. I'm happy that he's back, and he looks to be in just fantastic shape. Not that that was ever the case, but he looks like the old Wardlow. You know what I mean? So I'm stoked in that regard, but I wasn't necessarily 100% thrilled with seeing him teamed up right away with another faction and not being his own dominant, just shining force. You know what I mean? As maybe contradictory as that sounds, because I don't have strong enough faith that he's not gonna be forgotten about or just fall into the background in the Callis family. I just don't, man. So I will be happy to be wrong, and I will admit if I am wrong, but I don't know, dudes. I don't know. We'll see. But what I do know is I appreciate all you guys for joining me here. A lot of you guys are popping in more and more on Twitter, so I appreciate that. Looks like we got about 50 of you guys over there. And of course, everybody here on YouTube. I appreciate all you guys for checking this out. Well, checking the show out here and popping in and chatting with the community. I appreciate that. And if you are here, definitely like and subscribe. That'd be pretty dope. Or if you're watching on Twitter, X, feel free to follow the channel. Be pretty dope. Follow the page. And yeah, just appreciate all the support. But moving on, we have the AEW Women's Championship. Toni Storm defending against the ROH Women's Champion Athena, of course, being accompanied by Billy Starks. I think this one, honestly, was the victim of being so far deep into the card. I think, honestly, if this one may have been match number 2, as crazy as that sounds, or maybe even match number 3, maybe would have had a bit of a better atmosphere, which would have added a little bit more to the match. But I think the match itself was fine. I think maybe I was expecting a little bit more out of this match. And I don't even know what. Like, again, like, it wasn't terrible. It didn't feel like that big match feel for whatever reason to me. So I think that's maybe what played into it a little bit for me, but I don't know. And again, like, it kind of went how I expected it to, right? And probably how we all expected it to, with Toni Storm retaining. I'm not even that concerned on who's next for Toni. You know, I think Toni is a strong enough character where she doesn't necessarily need to be partnered up with someone right away. She can kind of carry, herself for a week or 2 weeks and kind of go from there, depending on what they want to do with her going into All Out. But yeah, I don't think they're really going to pull the trigger on Athena until she loses the Ring of Honor Championship. And I don't think she's going to do that until she hits 1,000 days. So I think once she passes that, I think that's when she is going to drop her title and then fully move on to the AEW roster. And then we can really take her seriously. And I think once we get the TBS championship off of Mercedes Moné, I think Athena is truly going to make that title her title, kind of like what she did with the Ring of Honor championship, and just kind of go from there with it. And then, of course, Mercedes and Toni Storm will be locking it up for the main championship, and we'll go from there. So I don't know exactly how it's going to work out, but that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. So we'll see. Sean, you said this match was good, but no intrigue again. Athena hasn't been booked great so far. Yeah, dude. And again, it sucks because she's stuck in Ring of Honor land, Yeah, and you said losing to Mercedes and Toni this early has not been good for me. And again, dude, like, I get it, but it's like, I kind of like the lay of the land with how they set it up. Like, I guess I didn't expect her to be either one of them, and I don't expect her to be either one of them. But also, too, it's like, okay, so I don't know, she's your Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, who's losing to your secondary, or who has lost to your secondary Women's Champion, the TBS Champion. So I don't know. Like, but again, like, I'm not too concerned with Athena, because I think she's gonna, like I said, once she passes her milestone, I think she's going to drop the Ring of Honor Championship. And then once she drops the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, I think she moves on to AEW roster proper. I think that's when she's really going to get the focus. And I could see her winning the Owen, maybe even next year, and then going into, what is it going to be, All In, and possibly winning the championship there. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on the lay of the land, but I could see her just kind of being like now this is gonna sound crazy. Now, hear me out. Like a low key Gunther in the sense that once she makes it onto the quote unquote main roster, she's gonna grab the Intercontinental Championship, right? The TBS Championship, and she's just really gonna like own it, and she's just really going to have a showcase. Maybe it's it's not a good thing to run rampant through the roster again, kind of like what Mercedes has been doing. But I think they're building and building their women's roster to have more technical wrestlers and more women's like talent that can actually like go, for a good amount of time in the ring. So I I'm not I'm not completely down on it yet. So once she's out of Ring of Honor, and if we're still in the same area, then I'll change my tune for sure. For sure. But yeah, Sean, no, I feel you. You said I guess I'll believe it when I see it. 100% do it. I get it. I get it. But guys, we made it to the main event, technically. Sanctioned, right? And that is Hangman Adam Page defending the AEW World Championship against MJF, who, as we discussed earlier, per match stipulations, he changed some shit, right? The title can change hands on a count out or disqualification, and MJF still has his Casino Gauntlet contract, aka the Money in the Bank bullshit. um, which Tony Khan addressed, which we talked about earlier. So there's that. I guys, this is where I think I'm going to be maybe the outlier and be in the minority with this one, but this match, I was really enjoying this match, minus a couple little things. I thought MJF could have dialed it down a bit, just like, reaction wise, like just like maybe just facially, sometimes, but overall, like I was really enjoying the match, dude. Like I was like, this is what I expected, right? This is a pretty good match. Like this is what you expect from both of these guys. Like this is like the style too. Like it just kind of really gave you that like old school AEW feel, like two homegrown guys, dude. Like just two AEW dudes going out there beating the shit out of each other and just having a good match. And then the ending, we got towards the ending, and I just I literally said out loud, like, what the fuck are we doing, man? Like why? Like why? So I'm just gonna fast forward to that. And I will say too though, I don't think that MJF needed to bleed during the match. Like, I don't know, because I feel like they're gonna run this match back, possibly even at All Out. So I just don't think that he needed to bleed here. I get it, like it's the main event technically, besides the lights out match. It's your world championship match, so you're gonna want to go all out. No pun intended. I just thought that they maybe could have held off on that in this match for MJF. So I don't know, Hangman bled as well. But I just didn't think MJF needed to also. Just my opinion. Nothing crazy or like, oh my god, but I just, just little things. But backing up. So for me, okay, back up a little bit more. I'm just pulling up my notes. So I have said before, I'm just so done with low blows in wrestling. Earlier, I was saying I guess I should add low blows in there as well. I was referencing the tombstone and the pile driver, the tope suicida, the suicide dives. But the low blows, I think the low blow for me is probably number one of the things that I'm just so fucking tired of seeing in wrestling. It is such a cheap, just a cheap, pun intended, right? It's just cheap shot. Like it's an easy out. Oh, my light just died. It's an easy. That's what I get for talking shit, right? It's an easy way to get heat, right? And it's just overdone. So fucking overdone. I get it. I get that it's very painful, I'm sure. I obviously I don't physically get that. But I can empathize. I'm sure it's very painful. So it's very effective. It's just very fucking annoying at this point, and I am just so tired of seeing everyone do it. So there's that. Um, I don't think that we needed to have another ref bump, which I understand, and it's nothing WWE, no, it's all across the board. Okay, when I complain, I complain in unison. It's just tonight we are focused on AEW. Next show we do could be focused on WWE, and I will bitch about them, I'm sure. um, but I just think that it's just so overdone. Um, but the first part of the absurdity that just really just blew it for me was, besides the low blow, was the low blow. He hit the Heat Secret Pile Driver. MJF did. Okay. MJF covered Page, who put his foot on the bottom rope, and the referee made the 3 count. Okay. Okay, fine. Because the referee, so we're at this point we're supposed to believe the referee didn't see Hangman's foot on the bottom rope. Okay. Of course, MJF knows Hangman's foot is there, but he's just fucking stoked that he won. He fakes, like he's trying to, like, oh, I'm so happy. Oh, I'm just fine. I won. I'm so happy. You would, if you're MJF especially, you would think his immediate reaction would be probably that, like, oh shit, I'm so happy I won. Realize the referee is still kind of wonky, still out of it. Go grab the title that you just won. You heard that you got the 3 count. Grab the title. Fucking run out. Why are you still in the ring? Why are you still there, dude? Like, that's the same shit that I was saying about CM Punk. Like, you hear Seth Rollins' music. You see him at the front. Why are you standing in the ring, my dude? Fucking run, go. Remember Money in the Bank 2011? Fucking go, bro. So that was one thing. The fact that the bell didn't automatically ring, and I understand the referee, I guess, has to call for the bell. You, as a referee, you count 1, 2, 3, and then you're supposed to call for the bell. So I guess since the referee technically didn't call for the bell, but he did count 3, technically, I guess, is that supposed to mean it's hand in hand? So I guess now I could be wrong, and I have been a fan for quite some time, but I could have just been overlooking this little detail. So please, guys, tell me if I have been overlooking this. I thought once the referee, the whole point and the whole end all be all of the match is the 1, 2, 3. That 3 count on the mat, that's it. That's the law. Like, that's it for the match. Like, that's it. The bell is supposed to come after that. Like, I didn't think that, yes, the referee can count 1, 2, 3, but if he doesn't then signal for the bell, technically the match isn't over. So if he counts 1, 2, 3, and he's just lollygagging, he's just like, oh, okay, let me check my phone, see what's going on, and he forgets to call for the bell. Anyone else can do whatever, and then he is like, oh shit, well, technically that didn't happen, so now the match is continuing on, so the match isn't over yet. So I'm just sitting there like, I'm just thinking all these things now. Okay, so I'm sitting here thinking about that. Next thing I know, Mark Briscoe's music hits, and I'm like, okay, which, to be fair, if I'm Mark Briscoe, makes sense. This dude, if I'm Mark, I had gasoline, like I was in a pretty compromised situation not too long ago. So I'm going to want to make sure this motherfucker doesn't leave with a championship. What I'm not going to do probably is have my music play. So everyone in the arena and all the security guards know that I'm making my grand entrance, but whatever. Again, you're a wrestler, so you have some chip inserted in you somewhere. Like, it's like, I guess it's like a needle that once you sign your contract with whatever wrestling promotion, even on the indies, like once you're injected and you're signed, you're injected, and you have like a chip that once you walk past a certain area, your music automatically plays. It's got to be that, because what other reasoning or explanation is there, right? That's just what I've just now forced myself to believe. Um, because why else would everyone's music play? You know. So there's that. Breaking news, guys. That's what you're coming here for. So his music played. But security guards are there to stop him because, of course, they are. Have no fear though. He's able to punch them out. MJF hears this though, because of course he does. He's watching Mark Briscoe do all this, and he's like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" He turns back around though, sees Hangman Page. He goes and sees Hangman Page is still there, right? So Hangman is still laying there on the mat with his foot on the rope. He goes to remove Hangman's foot from the rope. The referee then stops him. Bryce stops him and restarts the match. So I guess it's one of those things where it's one of those situations where the referee in the past has counted for 3, but then immediately realizes that he shouldn't have counted for 3, so he automatically restarts the match, even though I don't know how many minutes has now passed, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Because if I'm Bryce, technically, how do I know that Hangman didn't put his foot on the rope after I counted to 3, and he's just now like trying to like wiggle his way around, trying to like revive himself? How do I know? I don't fucking know what happened. So it's just, but that's my point, guys, and I know I sound crazy right now. But that's just what I'm sitting there thinking of as a fan as I'm watching this. Christ. And this sounds like this took forever. This was within minutes. So all this is happening. MJF. I feel like I sound ridiculous. So the match restarts. Okay, MJF then shoves the referee, right. Turns into a clothesline from Page. MJF then gets Page's buckshot lariat, kicks him below the belt again because why not? While the referee Bryce was shielded, and again, because why not? Why not in the low blow? MJF then rolls up Page for a near fall. Get another cowboy shit chant because why not? And I was just like, bless you guys, because if I was in the fans, I would, or in the crowd, I would just be like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, what is happening right now? So MJF goes out, he grabs the championship and the contract, the casino contract, which is like a metal binder type shit. Bryce took the title, missed MJF, or MJF missed hitting Page with the contract rather. I'm sorry, did he? Yeah. And then he goes to cover Page, gets a near fall. Adam Page, Hangman Adam Page, our good guy, ends up grabbing the contract. I don't want to call it a briefcase, like contract clipboard thing. Whacks MJF over the, and it was actually a really good hit. I will give him props on that. I fucking whacked him in the face with it. To MJF, ended up hitting the buckshot lariat and got the pin. At one point in between that sequence as well, when Hangman was covering his lower area, Bryce was like looking, and he was like, he noticed what Hangman was favoring, and he looks over at MJF. He's like, "What'd you do? What'd you do?" And I'm just like, same shit he's been doing, bro. Like, come on, man. Come on. So yeah. So of course, Hangman ended up retaining the championship. But MJF still has his contract, so there's that. I was really enjoying the match though until I don't know the last maybe 5 or 10 minutes of it, maybe, and then it just really kind of killed it for me. I'm not gonna lie. It really just, it was just so unnecessary, so unnecessary. You just really did too much, bro. Like, oh no, I'm gonna stop talking for a second and see what you guys had to say. Yeah, K Smith. Fuck yeah, dude. You said The super kicks are overdone too, Ash. Y'all, we should have a stream just talking about all the moves that are overdone. Yeah, Bryce didn't look good in this match, and Bryce is one of the better ones. And I hate to say that because it's not the referees, because I'm sure if the referees had it their way, they would enforce the rules. You know what I mean? But it's the booking, and that's what we have to remember. It's the booking. It's not the referee. It's the booking of the referee, and that's what it's just gotta be so frustrating if you're a ref. And yeah, Fernando, you said MJF still has a contract. He will eventually cash in on the Hangman. But remember, per Tony Khan, he has to do it with a 7-day notice now. But yes, moving on to, I guess, the main event. Unofficially. Well, it is unofficially. Um, I do have to say really quick, and you guys can fully judge me. I fucking loved what they did with the Young Bucks tonight, and I love what they've been doing. I just think it's fantastic what they've been putting the Young Bucks through. And the Bucks have been fantastic with it. But the second I heard Mbop from Hanson, y'all, I fucking lost my mind. I was like, when I heard it at first, I was like, I had to get close and I had to turn the volume up. I was like, it can't be Mbop. Sure shit it was. It took me back, y'all. It fucking took me back. I couldn't believe that shit. So fantastic. Just so well done. Shout out to Tony Khan for all the shit that people give him, and I'm sure I've given him shit myself. From love, right? All coming from love, constructive criticism. My guy is willing to open that checkbook, and he does. So props to him. He did it for Oasis. He's done it countless times. So I love him for that. I love him for that. But this, of course, was the main event, quote unquote, the lights out steel cage match, which had half the roster: Darby Allin, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Kota Ibushi, facing off against Jon Moxley, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, our Hanson and Bob guys, Gabe Kidd, and Claudio Castagnoli, of course, with Jon Moxley as well. I don't know if I mentioned. I think I may have mentioned him already. But of course, Marina Shafir was with him as well within Wheeler Yuta, because of course he was, right. I don't. What up, Sean? Thank you again, man. I appreciate you for the super chat, bro. You're coming in strong tonight. I appreciate you, man. You said, should faces get entrances for a lights out match? You know, the Osprey stuff was cool, but it was yeah, dude. It was. I think they should faces get entrances for a lights out match. I think they should. I think. I think. I mean, I honestly did. The only aspect that I thought of it in was I thought it was interesting that the faces came out first and then the bad guys came out, because I still fucking hate the Death Riders music. That shit just like kills my mood. And to hear just the music come out and then how the match was gonna start soon after, it was just a drag. And I was just like, bro, like if we would have had them come out first and then the good guys come out and then like the fun, well, I guess like the Young Bucks were the bad guys too, but I don't know, just like the uplifting part of like the good guys, like with Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega. Even though Omega didn't feel quite like himself. He looked fine. Don't get me wrong, like, he looked fine. Um, it just felt a little off, just not off, but just like it was just there. You know what I mean? Just kind of like an exhibition match. Um, but as far as entrances, I do get what you're saying, because like if the match technically isn't being sponsored by AEW and isn't being sanctioned by AEW, then why have their music played at all? But yeah, I'm not necessarily against that. But I'd probably have to put more thought into it, or Kind of maybe give me a little bit more where you're coming from with it. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Don't they want to fight each other right away? But I mean, that could be said for every match too, though. You know what I mean? I was curious to see how the layout of the match was gonna look with the steel cage. It was kind of a little bit of like a hybrid of like New Japan's match, like steel cage match layout. In Hell in a Cell, it was kind of like a mini Hell in a Cell almost, like height wise. It was pretty cool. It was fine, and I guess did its job, right? Um, I literally had to look away when fucking Moxley took the fork to Darby Allin's ear and was just like gouging his ear. Like I don't know what the fuck he did. I couldn't watch that shit, dude. I could not watch that shit. Like I just I couldn't. They got me, man. They got me there. I looked away. Um, and again, like I'm not even gonna shit on them too much because it's a lights out match, so you're supposed to expect shit like that. But like Jesus, man, like a fork to the earlobe, like I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And your earlobe, your earlobe does bleed a lot. So it is a good spot. And if you think back to the Hell in a Cell match that Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy had, what have been like 2018, 2017, 2018. Randy Orton had taken a screwdriver, and I actually had my ears gauged. Don't want to see something nasty. I guess stick a Q-tip through mine. See, nasty, right? So, um, it's actually a class, a learning experience. So Randy Orton took the screwdriver through Jeff's earlobe and like was twisting it and shit. It doesn't hurt, like, and you can twist it, like your earlobe itself is like pretty like stretchy. Like you can do a lot of shit with it. Um, but it does bleed a lot. So, um, yeah, fucking Darby Allin, dude. Darby Allin, wild. But they got me. I'm just gonna say they got me with that shit. And also with the gummy bears, I fucking laughed out loud when they poured out those gummy bears, and I was just waiting for one of them to eat them, like to pick up some and eat them. Like I'm sure it would have been nasty, but like they just and thankfully, Kenny did pick it up like they do with the thumbtacks and like shoved it in. I think it was Matt's mouth, Matthew Jackson's. So it was fun. It was fun. Because production is fucking with the young bucks, right? Supposed to put like the most brutal objects in there for the young bucks, and they give them gummy bears. Like, come on, it was brilliant. Um, but yeah, overall, the match itself was kind of what you would expect, right? Um, again, this match, what they did afterwards, they kind of pulled a WWE. I'm not even gonna lie. Um, I thought the ending was kind of interesting too. It was kind of like all the good guys like setting it up and hitting their finishers in a sense. Osprey and Kenny Omega had like an assistant finisher with each other. It was a hidden blade into the one wing angel, which was pretty dope. And then Tanahashi went up to the top rope, um, and hit the high fly flow for the win. So that was pretty dope. And again, it just kind of felt like that ending, I guess, in a way, kind of felt like a house show ending, in a sense. Like, oh, you're sending the fans home happy, but not so fast. So at the end, which is where I'm saying like they kind of pulled a WWE, they pulled the copyright at the bottom and the copyright and the trademark thing, and made you think that the show was ending. All the good guys had congratulated Osprey, pretty much just like giving him the ring, to say goodbye to the fans. I forgot to mention in the beginning, when talking about the entrances, they had a nice package with Osprey kind of showcasing his career, and they had it written and narrated by his, I don't know if they're officially married, but his girlfriend, Alex Windsor, who obviously was just part of the roster and, the wrestler. So that was, I guess, pretty cool. But the ending, man, after the match itself, pull my notes here. So Osprey again was kind of just like thanking the fans, doing his thing, and then it was really well done. I'm not gonna lie. The camera shot they had him there. It was kind of like behind him, and they were showing him go towards the exit, right, and then kind of hit the door, where the door was. And then all of a sudden, like you kind of see, like in the far, you see, I think it was Claudio, but you see the Death Riders, bro. So and you're like, oh shit, what's about to happen? And next thing you know, Castagnoli was there and blasted him with an uppercut. Locked the cage door. Moxley just started just kicking the shit out of him. Moxley and Castagnoli just started hitting him with DDTs and paradigm shifts, just paradigm after paradigm in the ring, just nonstop. Then, and at this point, the good guys were trying to make their way back because they were walking to the back, right? Like the match was done, everything was finished. Osprey was supposed to be celebrating. He's gonna make his way to the back. Everything was done. But the bad guys, they outsmarted the good guys, and I want to say they kind of laid a trap. They laid a trap for Osprey, and I will say, I'll say that for a second though. It just kind of made me chuckle at one point. Well, I guess it's fitting to say here. So, Castagnoli and Moxley have Osprey in the ring, right? And they're hitting paradigm after paradigm. So you're looking at them. So you're kind of in the camera view of like you're actually looking from the wrestler's entrance, right? Like you're looking facing the ring. Watch the camera. You're facing that way, right? So you have Claudio, Mox, and doing their thing and beating the shit out of Osprey. And then on the other side of the cage, you see Marina, climbing over the cage to get into the cage because the ring obviously Claudio had put a chain to the door, so he was preventing anyone from getting in. Obviously, right? Makes sense. Marina, makes sense. Smart. Climbing it over the top to get in. Took her maybe a minute, maybe, to get over the top into it. And again, it wasn't a super tall cage, like we said earlier. It was maybe half a height. And this chick just climbs over and gets in. So I'm sitting there thinking, like, okay, so the whole time, Osprey is getting the shit kicked out of him, literally, and then he's brought into the ring. He's getting paradigm after paradigm, all this shit. They're putting his neck in a chair, like, oh my god, like, this bad shit's about to happen. You literally see Marina climbing over the top and making her way in. Why is no one else doing this? And then finally, thank God, like you see Darby like trying to like make you start climbing the cage. Because thank you. Like why aren't you thinking of this, good guys? Thank you. So he's starting to climb. I think maybe one other guy was supposed like starting to climb, and then I think it was Marina. Like someone had like a kendo stick, and someone was like starting to like hit him off. So thank you, finally. But I'm just like, bro, like Marina has already like done scaled the cage, made her way in, like already ran around to the other side and started beating your asses, while you're just now sitting there thinking like, oh, that's smart. Let me climb the cage. I was just like, bro, get the fuck inside, dude. Like, sorry, Frida. Oh, I couldn't believe that, man. But of course, they did not make it in time, and Moxley ended up just I don't even know what you want to call it. So they, of course, set up the chair like you've seen before if you're a wrestling fan, which of course you are if you're sitting here watching this. They put the chair over Osprey's head, technically his head, but around his neck. Claudio was in the corner about to run and do a stomp to essentially like snap the chair onto Osprey's neck. Mox is like, I got it, bro. Like leans into Claudio and just fucking stomps the chair on Osprey's neck, dude. And that's it for Osprey. Osprey is out. Everyone's freaking out on the outside. The trainer is like, raise the cage. Finally get the cage raised. The ops are finally out there. Samoa Joe, Will Hobbs out there with chairs, finally, scaring off Death Riders and all that shit. And that's how they go off the air with the it was actually kind of interesting too with Osprey in the ring. Obviously, a very somber scene. I don't recall if Tony Khan. I was actually thinking about that earlier. I don't think Tony Khan really addressed Osprey. He was very, very serious about the whole MJF contract thing, but I'm sure I must have missed it. But that wasn't a big stressed thing Ospreay's health. So I'm sure he's good. Just kidding. But it wasn't though on the media scrum. But it was just weird though. It was just weird that they had this big London show and they went off the air with a very somber ending, which I don't even think I'm against because not every show needs to end well. And they just had happy endings at All In, and I'm sure they will at All Out. So it's good to spice it up a bit and to have Debbie Downers out there, you know. But it was just interesting to do it, and I don't know. I just wasn't expecting it. So again, I'm not even down on it. I'm really actually intrigued to see what they do coming out of it because I'm so fucking done with the Death Riders. Osprey, we're not going to see on TV for a while. Swerve, we're not going to see on TV for a while. Hangman, I guess, is still going to be fucking around with MJF. So I don't really know where we're at. And Moxley is still technically tied up with Darby, I would imagine, but maybe not. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where we go leading into All Out. But guys, that is our Forbidden Door 2025 review. Thank you guys so much for joining me. There's a lot of you guys still over there on Twitter. I appreciate you guys. And of course, everyone watching us on YouTube as well. I appreciate you guys. We will be wrapping it up here though. Because I got shit I got to do. It's fucking almost 11 o'clock. I got to take my dogs out for a walk and get ready for the work week, guys. Because fucking almost Monday morning, man. Ugh. It's time to start the week, right? But seriously, though, I appreciate you guys again for checking in with me and dropping your thoughts, whether it was on YouTube, Twitter. I appreciate you guys. All that fun stuff. And a couple people watching over there on Twitch. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, happy ending. Yeah, Sean, I mean, yeah, again, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of with you, Fernando. Like, I'm kind of like 50-50. Like, we all already knew it. I think it would, well, I don't even think. It definitely would have been more impactful if we didn't know going into this how severely injured Will Ospreay already was. So if he was just going in there not when we didn't know, like he already needed neck surgery, essentially, it definitely would have hit a little bit more. But it was kind of just like really just like I guess beating the dead horse, you know, like just really making sure like, okay, you're gonna be out. No, like we're gonna make sure you're out for the max amount of time possible. Like you think you're gonna do just the bare minimum and like maybe have like a speedy recovery. No, like Mox just said, fuck that. No, like you're gonna be out the absolute max. So I get that. I was just I was just surprised with the ending of the show with that feel. And again, I wasn't even down on it. I was just kind of surprised they went that route. So, hey, man, good for them for switching it up, though. Yeah, Sean. Yeah, right. But Fernando, Fernando, you said, Ash, we have a hurricane coming our way. Do we really, man? I gotta look into that shit. Fucking, of course we do. It better not be this weekend, dude. It better not fucking be this weekend because I have to move. Bro, don't say that shit. I gotta look into that shit. Thanks for the heads up, dude. But until next time, my friends, I appreciate you all, like I said, for joining. Sean, thank you so much for your super chats, man. I really appreciate that. It does help the channel out here. Looking to grow, helps with subscription fees, all that stuff. So I appreciate everyone joining here on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all that good stuff. Until next time, my friends, stay safe out there. Enjoy some wrestling and just please be safe. Take care, guys.